Alright. It's on, it's on.
I was in the picture for a second.
Oh, sorry. Accidentally flipped it around. Alright, you ready for this?
Yeah.
It's already recording, so we're on.
It's a good thing I didn't say anything inappropriate. Are we gonna pull a tarot card?
We sure can.
Yeah, I think we
We're doing a recording, so.
Okay. Well, if you want to.
Alright. So go ahead and welcome
Hi everybody, this is Miranda with the Witching Hour and
Nina with the Witching Hour. How are y'all today?
sorry about last week. We were prepping for the Witch Fest that we do. So if you guys missed it and you happen to be here in September, you should come check it out.
Yeah, it's
September 14th.
fabulous event for well, this one was for summer solstice. The next one will be for the next for fall.
For fall.
So we have lots of vendors, we have food, we have great times, lots of unique vendors. That's one thing I love, the vendors that we have, because
Yeah, I feel like they really
all-
make it happen.
yeah, they're local, they have their own unique creativity, everything's made with their own hands, and they're all spiritual in one way, shape, or form.
They really
Some
are.
aspect. So yeah, it's pretty nice. So yeah, I definitely recommend coming to the one we have at the end of the summer. Would be awesome.
Yeah.
So what we're going to talk about this time around is debunking the myths of witches and witchcraft. Okay, because lots of people, especially when you know, anything you do that is out of a religious context can be described as witchcraft by certain groups, certain religious groups and stuff like that, you know, and
I like how she says certain
religious groups, because there's more than one, you know, and they automatically think we're devil worshippers.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
We've slept with Satan.
We've slept with Satan, or they think that we eat babies.
Yeah. I mean, some do, but we're not them.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say it doesn't happen, you know, but more likely with the fad in witches, because we know that it's a fad now, more and more people are coming out looking into a different walk of life, a different way to look at spirituality, because religion has just fucked them up.
There's
You know.
that. There's that.
Or the people in these churches, they've shown that they are less than perfect, and you know, and it is sad that people do have that expectation that people do have to be perfect in order to run religious groups or even be there. But when they act like they're perfect and look down on others, I mean, I could see where that can go awry. But anyways, you know, just so many people are turning to different
Spiritual, or that we're gonna curse you. I get that a lot when people are like, "Oh, so are you gonna curse me?" All the time.
Oh, gosh.
All the time. All the time. I grew up very Catholic, and I mean Catholic school, the whole, you know, Catholic after school, like it was rough. So a lot of people in my family have, you know, they've started to pray for me, and thank you guys, I appreciate you. But I mean, it kind of goes with them having to feel like, you know, free spirits, free natured people. We aren't controlled by the masses. We live by nature. We live by, you know, it's just a law. It's a natural
Right.
law that we don't even have to bring up for any particular reason.
Exactly, and I'm just gonna put it like this: like, if you're a shitty person, you're probably gonna do shitty things.
I love
And if
that.
you're not, then you're not looking to hurt people. You're not looking to do things that are gonna take somebody's will away from them. You know, you set your own standards here. Nobody sets them for you, and that is an internal standard that you have set with you, yourself, your angels, ancestors, and whatever else it is that you honor. You know, what's the craziest thing you've ever been told, though?
I can tell you right now off the top of my head, which is the most annoying thing. and it comes from men. It's
Oh gosh.
yeah, it's a pickup line. Don't do it, please. Just don't do it. So you're a witch. You must have cast a spell on me.
Oh
No.
my gosh, that is
No.
the stupidest thing I've ever
No.
heard.
Just
Oh, dear
no.
Lord.
I'm warning you. Just stop now.
Right. I don't know. I think the thing that, and it hurts my feelings, dude. I'm not even gonna lie, because, you know, my background is religion. It's
Yes, you grew up
Southern
in the
Baptist.
Bible
Yeah,
country. Yeah.
I grew up in the Bible, belt in West Texas. So, going from that to this, and this, you know, I didn't ask for it. It was placed on me with my gifts and stuff, and then I chose to embrace it, and I chose to just walk the path that I feel that God has given me, you know, and that's the way I started, you know, and I have dabbled in things as far as witchcraft, and I don't feel like it's in my heart. I'm okay with it. I can go to bed at night, so I ain't tripping. But the thing that does hurt my feelings is when people automatically will shun me or automatically turn their backs on me or discourage themselves from me because of the title that I hold or the title that they think I should have. You know, because of what I do and for a living, they do judge me before
They know.
they even get to know
Mhm.
me. But anybody who's had work done with me, they know exactly, like, I am total opposite of what people automatically think. And the funny thing is, like, I don't even have to put spells on half these damn people, because
They do it them damn selves.
they are planting the seed themselves in their own heads, because I look at them cross-eyed. But, you know, I do have a wandering eye. I can't help it, man. Like, it's just there. Sometimes I look sideways and it goes woo. You know, that doesn't mean I'm cursing you, bro. Like, and I use my hands a lot. That doesn't mean I'm throwing something your way. I'm just one that I keep to myself. I do my job. I do what's best for my family. But if you attack me, I'm gonna fight back.
And
And
I
that's
think,
exactly what it is.
I think that was one of the hardest things for me, was to hit people back. Like we can go any day, but at
Yeah.
the same time, spiritually wise, it's like it takes a toll on you, and you're like, I really don't want to hurt somebody, but at the end of the day, it's, you know, it's either yours or mine, and I'm gonna tell you right now, you ain't taking mine.
Right, exactly. And, you know, just growing up in the streets like I did, you know, growing up very
She's hood, y'all.
I am hood, so I'm a ghetto witch. Like, I don't even care. You can call me a ghetto witch, because you know, and I used to, even when I was Christian,
She
and
was a
carrying
Christian ghetto witch. No, I'm just
carrying
kidding.
the Christian title, I would be like, I will take off my cross and I'll box you up. Like, we can step outside, you know. And so I'm still the same way. And yes, it's funny, but it's the truth. So, you know, instead of fighting people now, I don't have to anymore. You know, not because age is coming into play and I got to mature sometime, but just for the fact that I already know what to do to return stuff to people. Usually that's all you have to do to jack them up, is send their own shit back to them, and they're good to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Some other myths that I've heard about witches is that they all congregate or they do animal sacrifices, blood sacrifices, where most do, but in this day and age and the fad going around, they don't. Okay, I'm just telling you right now, they don't.
So with that, I want to throw out too, I have quite a few friends that are Satanists, and they get a really bad name, okay? But if you ever look at the Satanists, they have their own Bible.
Uh-huh.
And they have their own church. And their whole thing is they will not harm children, they will not harm animals.
Yeah.
So they get a really bad name. And a lot of this, I feel like it gets started by Hollywood.
Yeah.
Hollywood has gone and just ran with it. Like, so I think that's where a lot of it comes from. We get a lot of people in here too that have been brought up in the church, and they're terrified to come and see us, but they need help.
Yeah.
So,
And then when you look at our store, like, we just have a bunch of herbs around, yo. Like, herbs, candles, and nothing's activated unless we activate it, right? You know, and so there's nothing to be afraid of. when you are exploring these other options. Another thing I do want to bring up about the Satanists is, they're just like any other religion, because it is a religion. They have a certain deity that they worship, and that's what they worship. That's what they talk about. That's what they go around. So it's nothing different. Me, I just choose now. I know that there's a God that because I still have my Christian ways, most of the ways. I don't go to church because, the people. I just can't handle the people and their judgment, because I get mouthy and I get crazy. So I won't ever do that again. And I just feel like my spirituality is beyond that anyways. We grow when we become ourselves. And, and I encourage everybody to find what fits you, because you will grow. They say to have one with your God. How do you see that I'm going to go crazy and psycho and everything like that? You know what I mean? It just means that I'm going to follow my standards. I'm going to do what allows me to sleep at night. And I just know that my mind expanded to other alternative means where I actually do not judge others. And that is one thing I will not do, is place judgment. I'll state facts like a motherfucker, but I won't place judgment on them just because been there, done that. Don't like it, don't like to be judged, and I won't do that on anybody else. Let's see, what are some other ones with witches that they fly at night. Okay, we're gonna get into some of the folklore.
Yeah, I want to get into that.
The folklore.
Because if you ever need belladonna, we have some. Just saying.
Explain what that is.
Okay, belladonna is a safer form of deadly nightshade. Now, nightshade did not grow here in the States. It was brought over by the German monks, or they were like priests or something. They brought it over into the States. It grew. Children used to dare each other to eat it because it was a hallucinogenic. With that being a hallucinogenic, there are safer forms to take it. It's used as an anti-poison. So if you've been poisoned, I know some people have actually used it as an anti, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
I know with that, its safer form is belladonna, and it's used as a sedative. It's put in teas. It's helped people relax. With relaxing, sometimes we can't relax. Some of us have high blood pressure. Some of us have high anxiety.
Empath people.
Yes, empath people. If you have not learned to ground or to shield yourself, it hits you. So it's crazy that that's what it was. But I know with a lot of the thoughts, people were saying that they seen witches flying around. I know back in the day it was used to cure certain sores on the skin. So when you would rub it on your skin, it would tingle and it would simulate the feeling of flying. Mm-hmm. So that's where the whole witches fly at night. Although I will stick to some of our Hispanic roots. Mm-hmm. Y'all don't want to mess with those ones.
Right. Okay, so with folklore, are these things true? The owl witch lady, I can't remember the name.
Oh my gosh, yes. I swear I've seen her before.
Yes, okay. And I'm gonna say, yes, I've seen her before. I have seen something of her, and I don't take the hallucinations at all, y'all. So this was me on a straight mind. I have an uncle that said he was running at night and he was lifted by one, and she dropped him. She lifted him in the field and dropped him. He had the scratches on his arms. Everything matched up to his story, but of course he was teased about it because people don't believe that.
Well, shoot, you go camping and what's the first story you hear around the campsite? Mm-hmm. La Llorona, and mm-hmm. Yeah, no. I'm on no.
Okay. And these are lingering spirits. I always say that there's some half truth there. If it's not all the way truth, there's some half truth there.
Well, my dad used to always talk about this huge bird. And in fact, when he passed, I got him like a bird thingy to put on him. And it's just because he told that story of this huge bird that used to follow him everywhere. And my dad was a great storyteller. And I don't think he was telling stories though. But he was too terrified of a damn bird to be telling stories like that. But he said whenever he was in the wrong, this bird would show up, and one day it confronted him, and he's like, I won't be bad anymore, you know. And
Yeah.
so every time he was scared when he was doing something wrong, he was always looking for that bird to come and swoop him up and take him away.
Oh shit. Yeah, that's you know, and that could also have been like you know, just considering your native roots, totem, animal totem, an animal spirit guide for him too, just to keep him on the
straight and narrow.
Keep him on the straight and narrow, because could you imagine him without that, you know?
Oh man, I know. My dad was a good man. He was a really good
Yeah.
man, but it's hard to walk. It's hard to walk that red path. So
Right.
I know he does it in his spirit world right now. So
Okay, so I'm not really sure what else we can bring up. I can't even think right now with like with witches, but with witchcraft, I do know that people that do Google magic. Okay, I'm gonna say Google magic because they look up these magic spells to do online. You know,
Yeah.
Google magic or anything else like that that you don't get from your own family is very iffy. Okay, but the thing that matters is the intention. So
sometimes you get lucky, y'all.
sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you get fucked up. Like that's, you know, you just have to be very careful in what you do.
If you don't know, ask. That's another thing I want to put out there. If you're a real witch, if you're a real, you know, tarot reader, you're a real person, you will not come in acting like you're holier than thou or better than everybody else. That is one way that that's the quickest way to get me to be like, yeah, you're fake, out the door. Because I like I said, in the shop, we're a family. We're a close-knit community.
Yeah.
If you come at one of us, you're coming at all of us, and all I know to say is just watch out.
Yeah, and another thing with that I will say is, like, you know, we do have a lot of people that come in and to the store, and we're not putting your gifts down at all. But me and Miranda have a lot of experience under our belt where we've been there, done that, and we know where we stand as far as our gifts. We're not questioning them. You know, we know that we're good as hell. You know, we're probably one of the best in this part of our state, if not the entire state, and I'm gonna put it out there. Because I have not seen anybody that can do what me and Miranda do, and we do different things, you know. But when somebody comes in, like, even as good as we are, we come to each other for readings. We come to each other for mediumship, for cleansings.
We go to our
other
elders,
people.
you know, people that have practiced longer than us. We have people that we reach out to.
Yeah.
So again, right now, with this being a huge kind of movement, you know, spirituality and things like that, I will tell you, as a real witch, I do not look down on anybody.
No.
I don't. If you have questions, come and ask me, because I'd rather you be safe than get harmed. So, and you know what? Another thing I want to put out there with coming into your practice is, a lot of people think you've got to start with cards, or you got to start with one thing, and that's not how it works. My god sister, she cannot read the cards to save her life. She can't. But I have seen that woman pull some scary stuff off of people, and she is the only one that I've ever noticed that can do that type of things. But like she said, she just doesn't have a knack for the cards.
Mm-hmm.
I have a knack for the cards. I've been reading cards probably since I was about 9 years old, and it just came to me naturally. I have cousins that have had to kind of work at it. It's really just building that relationship. And say you can't read cards, that doesn't mean that you're not a witch.
Yes.
Yeah, it does not mean that you can't move forward and try a different tool of divination.
Right.
I know some people are great with you know, mirror scarring, pendulums, just all kinds of different divination tools. There's people that can just look and they can read things. Yeah, so I mean, it's really about learning you, coming into your practice, you know, honoring the highest form of you.
Exactly that. And that's where I will have respect for somebody else and their gift. You know, I just, you know, don't think that you're, you know, and I talk humbly when I talk about how good we are, because it's taken me a long time to be able to accept that about myself.
Yeah,
and I can rave her up like all the time.
And I'm like,
but when I do it with myself, I do feel like, you're not supposed to be doing that. But
Vice versa.
you know what? I've worked hard to get where I'm at, and I've had a lot of self-sacrifice that I've had to do in order to get where I'm at as well. So you know, when people come in and they're like, "Oh no, I don't need a reading," or "I don't need this," and it's okay if you don't. But I'm a medium and walk out with your nose up in the air.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you better hope that door don't kick you in the ass, because
It's enchanted. No, just kidding.
You know, I mean, it's the attitude. Like,
No, it is the attitude, and you know what?
There's no competition here, you know.
And there's really no problem with thinking you're the shit or knowing you're the shit. Just don't bring your shit at my shit.
Exactly that shit.
We're uncensored.
Okay, so also with witchcraft, you have to have the right tools. You have to have the right herbs, the right potions, whatever it is. You know, this is not true. You have what you have. Like, I'm gonna bring in the types of witches. A kitchen witch, for instance. I'm gonna say that runs in the older, I'm gonna call it old schoolers blood, or the people that can put their a meal together, a Thanksgiving dinner, out of like eggs and a piece of ground turkey. You know what I mean? You know, these people are, I will call you a kitchen witch, whether you, I don't care what your religious background is, because you are making magic happen with food in the kitchen for your family, and you're making it out of whatever you've got.
Yeah, definitely.
You know,
and that's the thing too, is witches were not as widely accepted as they are now, and a lot of us were in hiding, and a lot of us were shunned, and a lot of us had to learn to live off the bare minimum in order to make things work.
Right.
Right. My mom, there's a saying, and my kids will say it too, because I always tell them, I cook with love. That's why the food tastes so good, is because there's love in it. But you piss me off, and I'm making food for you, you're not going to want to eat it because it's not going to taste that great.
Well, shit, mine tastes good, but it's too damn hot to go down your throat.
There you go.
It's too damn spicy. Yeah, so I try not to do that. You got jalapeno seeds coming out your ass. So
And there were no jalapenos in there.
Right.
I'm just kidding.
It was a dash of pepper.
Like,
the other types of witches that there are around there, you know, so if you need to classify yourself as a certain type of witch, which I don't classify myself, I'm just here. You know what I mean? I'm just a witch. I don't fit this form or that form because I have no boundaries on myself. So
You're eclectic.
eclectic, yes.
yeah. Okay, yeah, and I will say that, eclectic, because I do fit more into that category. But the thing that I love, and I've only known one and not very well, is chaos witches.
I love chaos witches.
Okay.
I feel like I dabble sometimes in the chaos, and then I'm like, the Virgo comes in, and I'm like, oh,
Okay.
okay.
And for those of you that don't know what a chaos witch, go ahead. Just somebody that does not. I don't know.
There's
I don't
no
want to
rhyme or rhythm.
Right.
They go, and it can be pure destruction. In fact, I know a chaos witch, and she was at work, and she figured out how to make a voodoo doll out of a trash bag and just some stuff that was laying around at her job, and she worked in the food industry. Okay, so let's not.
I can imagine what it was stuffed with. Oh my god. You know.
Yeah.
And the thing I do like about that is, gosh, I'm starting to get movies coming to my head. Blood In, Blood Out.
Oh my
A la
gosh.
madre o un desmadre, which is like it's all good or it's all fucked up, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm kind of a little bit jelly of that because I have so many boundaries on myself that I would never let myself go there. You know what I mean? To the absolute far end of that.
My thing is, don't push me. I'm really calm. I'm sweet. I'm wonderful. An ex once told me, he said, "Oh, you thought you were," he goes, "Oh, you were just playing to be nice, this, that, and the other, but you're really a thug." No, I really am a thug. You just bring it out of me.
Yeah, that's funny.
And
Yeah, that's probably one of the ones that I like admire the most, and I'm just in awe. Like I could learn a lot from that. You know, and I would learn a lot from that, but just from my own knowledge. So, you know, I like to take in a lot of knowledge from other people, and I hold on to it because you never know. You never know when you need it, whether it's to put out there or to take away from somebody or take off of somebody.
well, see, and that's another thing I think is very important as a witch. Again, it goes back to community. It goes back to family. some of us are not perfect at everything,
Right.
and sometimes we need help, and it's important to be able to reach out to the ones that dabble in
Yeah.
that particular area.
Yeah.
I mean, even with practicing Santeria, you know, I can't go too far into that because, you know, it's really secretive. But you know, there's people that are to work in the kitchen. They've been brought in and they're to work in the kitchen. There's certain people that assist solely with sacrifices. We'll talk about that later on. There's other people that solely work with just doing, well, it kind of just depends. Like, if you're feeding your ancestors, if you're taking something off of somebody, if, you know, you're burying stuff. There are certain people that are just completely solely designated for that. My madrina, for one, she's crowned Obatala. And she always says, and it came up in her reading, that, you know, she was a cook for Obatala. And so everything with her is in the kitchen. And she's a fabulous cook. She's a fabulous cook. So I think it just kind of, we play to our strengths, and what we don't have, we work together as a community to bring together.
And just note that a lot of your strengths are going to come, they've always been with you naturally. You know, that's something that you're not going to have to work hard at. It's just always been with you since birth, because you were crowned that, or given that, or gifted that, whatever you feel like, or whatever you believe in. It's been there for you. So yeah, that's totally awesome.
Yeah.
I was gonna go into, you know, a lot of people do rituals without even thinking that they are.
Birthday
You know.
candles. Oh, yay.
Yes.
Guess what, guys? That's a ritual.
Yeah.
For certain people who we shall not name. Yeah, that's a pagan tradition. Blowing out your birthday candles and making a wish.
And we all know that most of our holidays come from pagan traditions.
Yeah.
They come
Christmas
from,
tree, Yule log.
They come from some other form of ritual, and I'm going to call it ritual because I don't feel like it's religion. Even though pagan does have some religious aspects, I don't feel like it's religion. It's more ritual that was here before we were here. And even like curandera work, you know, your grandma, you get her and she rubs you, sana sana colita de rana, si no sana hoy, se sana mañana.
Yeah.
You know, that was
a ritual in itself.
That's a ritual. That is a healing ritual that Hispanics to this day, and even religious Hispanics will say, you know what I mean? And it does come from the root of witches. Okay, and they weren't always called that because it's natural. It was taught to you. It comes down the bloodline, you know. You just
Ponte Vicks. What does Vicks have in it?
Eucalyptus, mentholatum. Yes, okay. I'm gonna say I'm a Ponte Vicks type of person. That helps me with everything, okay? Even in constipation, not even lie.
I don't know that trick, but inform me later.
Well, okay, so there's some curandera work where they do massages, right?
Oh yeah,
And
like
they cool.
empachado,
Mhm.
empachada.
So you're constipated. So what they do is they give you a massage on your back and they start pulling your
Popping.
skin, popping your skin to where your guts release. Well, if you use Vicks on that, it helps go into the skin as well to help it fluctuate and flush quicker. How that works, I don't know. It just works, you know.
Eucalyptus, mentholatum, all of that it's a talent. Castor oil, that
Castor
whole new
oil,
thing
yes.
with castor oil on the belly button.
Mhm.
People have been doing that for centuries.
Or drink it to have your kid quicker.
Yeah. Oh
You know,
my gosh.
These are all rooted in witchcraft, and this is nature's way. This is what they
It's
did
root work.
before.
It's
This is
healing.
what they
It's
did
root work.
before we had all of these doctors and, you know, people with 8 years of schooling behind them to tell us what to do. This is all the all natural ways, you know, and that's why more people are getting into their spirituality because they're looking for the more natural aspects of things, which I think is awesome. It's growing, and I can't wait to see, you know, what comes out of there, because in order to make this movement for yourself, you got to evolve and you've got to open up to other things, and I think that's fabulous.
Yeah, that's probably one thing I will say with spirituality is the openness of it. And I've gone on and done a few of my own videos from like when I was just starting out where, you know, it really is the intent. It's the intent. It's everything behind it. And like you said, you don't need specific tools. You don't need specific herbs. There is always a substitution for one of them.
Exactly.
Always. And again, with people that are dabbling, my only thing with that is caution. Sometimes you get lucky, but sometimes you get messed
Yeah.
up, and then you have to come see us, and we're like, oh, how'd you do that? You know?
Right, exactly. And unless something is really there to absolutely, like, whatever the herb works or oil that you're using or whatever you're using is absolutely opposite of what you're trying to do, or it's more attached to you instead of somebody else, you know, that's where you got to be careful, because you don't want to throw shit on yourself when you're putting it elsewhere, or if it is for you, you don't want other people to grab that from you. So that's you do got to be so careful.
You've got to be really careful when it comes to herbs, guys. It's best to know the herb. I love to work with pennyroyal, but it's poisonous. Wolfsbane, poisonous.
Yeah, she works with all the poisonous shit.
I like poisonous shit. That would explain my dating life. No, just kidding.
You know, and if you don't have herbs, you don't have nothing, but you really want to manifest, or you really want to bring, I'm going to give an example of money your way, open your abrir tus caminos, or open your road to destiny, you know, mind visualization, it's all there. It's the same shit, you're putting intent in there, you know. And
manifestation, guys, manifestation, definitely.
Yep, definitely there. Let's see, what's another thing that I just wanted to bring up? I can't even remember. Oh, you know, are all witches in a coven?
No,
Okay.
they are not.
Yeah, not all witches are in covens.
And you don't have to be the most powerful witch and have to be in a coven. That's another thing that I want to debunk. I've met tons of witches that are not in covens. I've met tons of witches that are in covens.
Yes.
Again, family, their strength in that.
Mm-hmm. You know, and you can classify almost anything a coven. Your family, for instance, or like me and Miranda could start a coven right now. Like, it's me, you, girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, we're not going to.
9's a good number to start with. I want to throw that out there. 9's good.
9. Okay.
So we're taking. No, I'm just kidding. I was gonna say we're taking applications. No, we're really not.
No, we're not.
We're not. We're crazy.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of tolerance for people, so I don't think I would work well in a coven.
It's because you're a
And
Leo.
yes, I'm Leo, and that Leo energy, I just want to be in charge of myself, and that's pretty much it. You know?
She's like, I'm going to bed when I'm going to bed.
You know, and that's the thing about in a coven, you know, covens don't get together and all dressed in black. Most of them do dress in black, and the reason why?
Guess what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's protection.
It's protection. So that is why witches wear black. It is reflecting, it is protecting it. I know for a fact that there are some people that practice Santeria that solely wear black. And they are able to, it's called being mounted by the spirit, and they are able to put that on themselves, and it's neat. It's actually it's a really beautiful ceremony that they do. So, I mean, yeah.
Okay, and you know, so that doesn't necessarily, and I think that mean that they're evil or anything like that. Okay, it's just for protection. Black absorbs negativity. It deflects negativity from you. If somebody's trying to break down your barriers or your protection shields, you know, black is something good to covering your head also when you go in an area unknown, so that you are not attacked by attachments or other shit, right? So that is why most of the capes have hoods, okay? Just letting you in on a little bit of that. The coven, all they're doing is sharing energies.
It's work. They're again, family.
Yeah.
It's their close-knit family. It's their close, again, family. That's what it
Right.
is.
They come together, see what they need, and they make it work for themselves, and everybody does have their spot, does have their place in a coven.
I will say that if you are joining a coven, you know that those things are not taken lightly. There's a lot of study and things like that, even to become high priestess.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, even with people that
Yes.
are, you know, again with Santeria, Babalaos, people that practice shaman work. There's study in that. There's things that you have to do. There's preparation. I know with some ceremonies, and I don't dabble with that part too much. But in Mexico, there's a whole 7-day ritual that you have to do in order to be a witch. And, you know, and it's from sun up to sundown. You know, with Santeria, coming into Santeria, it's a whole ceremony.
It's a whole process.
Yes,
of ceremonies.
and there's things you have to learn. There's things you can do, and there's things that probably shouldn't be done. The way you make tortillas might not be the same way I make tortillas.
Right.
You know? So.
Yeah. Another thing with that I'm gonna say is that, you know, you newbies, because you are good at what you do, or you start having people come to you and they're hyping you up, does not automatically give you the title.
Yes, that is a very big
get
thing.
a title. I will not even call myself a high priestess.
No.
And I've been at this for like
or even a
almost 15
curandera.
years.
Yeah. No, even the word bruja, in the States, it's taken very lightly. But if you were to go back down south, like Mexico and Texas, and you know, there's huge rites and passages, things that you have to do in order to receive that title.
Yeah.
So things here in the States are taken a lot more lightly.
Yeah, a lot more lightly. Yeah, so, you know, just do your, you know, just look into whatever you're doing when it comes to like naming yourself, whatever you think you need to name yourself. And don't disrespect others that have worked their asses off by giving yourself that title. Like, that is so...
That is a quick way to get you in trouble real quick.
Right, with universal energies and other energies that
Yes.
you're not even ready for. You know, because when you do open up that title for yourself, you're opening yourself up to other shit. You just got to know that, you know.
That's what I tell people too. When you start coming into your practice or your spiritual gifts, it's like taking this huge ass bell and you're ringing it for everybody to hear. Well, now you've got little nasty entities that are like, hey, let's go check out that bell. We've got other people that are just, people can be just people and do some really shady stuff.
Jealousy,
you know, jealousy is a very big thing. Malojo, very, very, very big thing. So you're ringing that big ass bell and you're letting everybody know I'm present. This is who I am. And other people are going to be like, oh, welcome, welcome. Other people are like, let's have fun.
Yep.
Let's have fun.
Exactly that. Yeah. So, you know, I myself, like, will revert back to the cousins. I choose to stay single in myself, you know, just because that's just who I am. Like I said, I work well with my family here, but it takes a lot of, you know, I've spent years knowing them. So I don't just let people in.
Yeah. No, and that's another thing that you'll probably learn. The spiritual path, you end up kind of gravitating to your people because it can be a lonely one.
Oh, definitely not.
Especially if you were brought up with, you know, strict religion and things. The same people that you took the same bath with growing up may not be the same people that are going to talk to you when you run into them in public.
Right.
And I bet you've been through this, but I mean, I lived in a townhome, and you know how they're kind of connected together. When my husband passed, well, everybody knew me as his wife, and we were a good couple. We were loving. When he passed, all of a sudden, I became the neighborhood witch. And
oh gosh,
yeah, because
okay,
I had done a ritual and put it above my door to keep sickness away, right? And I mean, we were going through it. Like me and the kids, we needed every barrier, every protection, everything that you could think of out there, because we were suffering, we were in grief. And so I did everything possible to keep energies out of the home, to keep things out of the home. And then what that in turn did is it labeled me as the neighborhood witch. I had people that would walk across the lawn to avoid my area. I had people that tried to get me in trouble where I lived and reported me to the office because they went
Wow.
and they bought chalk at the grocery store, kid chalk, and wrote it above their door. Of course, they had no idea what they were doing. And so they tried to say that I had done that and I was cursing them when it was really just a blessing above my door. So I had to explain that. And when I walked into the office, the guy was like, "So I hear you do witchcraft." I go, "Yeah, I'm a witch." And he goes, "So did you put that above their door?" I go, "No, for first off, they put the C in the wrong place, and then that was supposed to be a plus sign and not a no."
Yeah.
And he just looked at me. He goes, "Miranda, just don't." And I was like, "Okay, I'm not." One of the neighbors that her daughter always came over and played with my kids was all of a sudden not allowed to come over and play with my kids.
Yeah.
They would literally cover their eyes because there's this myth. That's another one. If you cover your eyes, we can't do something.
Right.
That goes back to us stealing your soul. That's not exactly true. But the eyes, if you listen to the Arabic way, there are Arabic witches as well, where the eyes are the window to the soul, and that's where that came from.
Right.
But no, you're gonna cover your eyes. I'm just gonna hope you don't trip on the sidewalk there and bust your ass, because then I'm gonna laugh, and then it's probably gonna be my fault again anyway.
Right.
But not the fact that you covered your eyes. Not the logical part of it.
Right. Yeah, so, all in all, with just this episode right here, it's like, don't judge before you know.
Mm-hmm.
Don't judge before you know. Don't beat yourself down for not having the tools or the knowledge that you think you should in order to even get started. Just get started. Just get started on yourself. Do what feels right to you, because, like I said, you have ancestors that have helped you, and you grew up in this. I didn't. I'm a solo dolo type of chick, right? And I gotta listen to what my guides are telling me and what I feel in my intuition, like as far as what I use, how I perform my things, my cleansings, my healings, anything like that. And so that's why I do take advice from other people. And if it resonates, I'm gonna take it. If it doesn't, I'm gonna hold it, and I'm gonna see if I need it at a later time.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good. I will say, with anybody's path to enlightenment or spirituality or whatever you want to call it, it really is your own. You're not going to be ahead of nobody. You're not going to be behind anybody. You're not going to. Those are bad words. Should or shouldn't, have to. Those are words that. They're negative words in the English language, and they can cause a lot of harm to you within your practice. It's about, when we talk about the higher power, when we talk about divine, it's really us being in our divine self, us being our higher person. And everybody's path is different.
Yeah, exactly. And before we close, there is another thing, like being gifted is also being a witch, so I want to just tell you that, like, just because you go to a medium or you go to a tarot reader, we see things differently, especially the clairvoyant, the clairsentient, and audient. Okay, we see, hear, and feel things, and we are the interpreters. Okay, we have got to interpret that in the best way we know how. Sometimes it doesn't get interpreted well, so if you go to somebody and 75% of it is correct, and you got this other little bit that is not correct, that doesn't mean they're full of shit. Okay, that just means that message probably didn't come across to them, or they didn't provide the message as clearly as the person flowing through them, or spirit flowing through them. And the only reason why I say this is because my family, and yes, I'm calling y'all motherfuckers out, my family seems to think, oh, you're full of shit. Nothing you say is right because you predicted a boy and not a girl. And yes, I'm throwing that out there. But the person that I predicted the children with, they had a miscarriage. The one that was miscarried was the boy. The second one that came through was a girl. So
I feel like that's a really touchy subject.
It is a touchy subject, but it's the truth. Yeah. And it is something that you will go through with your family members. Like I've had to, and and I just cut them off. And yeah, I will throw some shit back at them because it's stuff that's hurtful when you've known somebody your entire life, especially siblings, and then they just completely turn on you, and that is a chance you're taking when you take this path as well, and I stand in my shit. I own it. I own my walk, and I don't regret anything. It is just very disappointing, when people do that to you. Yeah. So I just want you guys to know that everybody's messages come through differently, and just because it didn't resonate with you like 100% doesn't mean it is not valid or true, or they don't know what they're doing. Okay, please don't disregard people like that, because
it can be damaging.
It could be damaging to their entire persona or career, when they hear that feedback, like, oh, what you said wasn't even true, or they hear from somebody else that you're talking shit on them. It is damaging to them. So please, just out of respect, like, don't do that. As people get deeper into their walk with their gifts, especially clairvoyancy, their psychic abilities,
and it comes through muffled. It comes through really muffled sometimes. Sometimes you get spirits that are really, because I can do mediumship, but I prefer not to. That's just me, because it knocks me on my ass. Nina here pulls mediumship all the time, and she's great at it. And there's been times where I've been like, Nina, I'm exhausted, and she's had to be like, okay, we'll do this and this, and I'm like, okay, and I do it now, and it's not as exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
But there's been times where I've had spirits just pop in during the Witch Fest.
Right.
I had several people, they were coming in for a palm reading or a card reading, and they ended up getting mediumship. And that's just because their spirits were that adamant on the other side. They were like, nope, she's here. She can translate for us. We're doing
exactly.
it. So, I mean, it can come in muffled. It can get lost along the way. It's like, that one thing that you do where this person says, okay, this is the secret, and we're going to whisper it all the way down. And when you get to that last person, what was actually said and then how it got translated was completely different.
And that's exactly how a lot of clairvoyancy or clairaudience sentient is all that works. So yes, just please don't disregard the people that are doing these things for you, because it can be damaging to them. And just understand that maybe this wasn't the person for you, so go to somebody else.
Yeah, it's like a therapist. No, just kidding.
And that's the truth. You're gonna test out other people before you find the perfect person for you.
Okay.
And
I feel like we have to touch on one more thing. So
okay.
You finish that.
All right. Yeah, and it just goes all into how the message is coming through, and how well the person is showing them the message. Because if all I see is black and white, I have somebody showing me color, how am I going to explain color? I won't know how.
That is a good analogy.
So that is how I'm going to leave it, just like that. So
the pentagram, we have to go into this. Sorry, this is something that has to be really debunked. That does not mean I'm a devil worshiper. That does not mean that there's all kinds of stuff that goes with it. And it is not the Star of David, you guys. I get that so often, especially because I wear this everywhere I go. And I'll get people feel safer that way. Yeah, people do feel safer with it. And cute little religious ladies will be like, are you Jewish? That's the Star of David. No, I'm not. And then it turns weird. But it is not the Star of David. It is a pentagram. It is a pentagram. Pentagram, guys. Pentagram. 5 points. 5 points. Each one of these correlate with energies. We're talking earth, water,
fire,
air. It's an energy. The circle around it is protection.
The center is spirit.
Yes, and the center is spirit, and this is where we want to be. We want to be one with ourselves. We want to be one with our spirit. And as I try to put this back in my ear, I just really wanted to touch on that because we get that a lot. I mean, people, you've gotten it. I know I've gotten it just here in the shop. So, I've gone into places and people have seen my tattoos. Where were we that one time when we went to? I can't remember where we were, but there were little kids there and they came up to us and they go, "So, are you guys witches? Because you have that witch sign on you."
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're like, we just started laughing. We both kind of laughed, and they just kind of looked at us crazy. And we're like, no. And then we explained it. If you don't know, ask, guys. If you don't know, ask.
Right.
But that was when I really felt we needed to touch on it. And I don't know what's going on with us
Another
today.
thing, not all witches are tree huggers, because I'm not a tree hugger, man. I hate nature, and I'm gonna say that out there. I will not go camping. I don't like bugs. I don't like dirt. Like, I'm just throwing that out there. You can call me bougie eclectic, okay? Because I am not going out there. I am not going out there.
And
so
me,
I'm all tree huggers.
And I'm the opposite. I'm like, yeah, let's get dirty. Oh, let's go jump in that water.
And I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, you'll see me out there.
Hell no.
You'll see me out there rolling in the dirt, being a weirdo. It's kind of bad, but. Oh, it was fun.
Well, I don't know. I think that's about all we have that we can think of. I hope you guys have some questions. Remember our email, which is thewitchingouraasb@gmail.com. We will accept any and all questions, any and all topics, or anything that you just want to reach out.
You want to know more on, yeah.
And converse on. Like, we're open to that, and as well, like, we are here every Friday. Today was just an odd day. We are a little bit earlier than usual, but it's okay. Hopefully you got notified that our live was here, and if not, you'll see it later.
That's true. And then you guys get to see my kind of jacked up live for the Witch Fest. But
Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah, we're working on it, guys. We are not tech savvy witches.
Right. But it's okay. We're learning as we go. And that's all we can do. So bear with us, and we'll see y'all next week.
Yeah. And here at the Witching Hour.
Bye.
Bye.
And I will get up and turn you off.
We're still looking for a cameraman. I just want to say I'm ready for my close-up, Mr.